herself, she's quadruple Sagittarius, has already been stuffed out over years of Indian patriarchy, and now from 2009 to 2010, within 1 year, she cannot remember our phone number that we've had since 1970 fucking 8.
Oh, wow. That's dreadful.
And now that I sent this article, I talked to relatives, why did you drug my mother? It's always like, well, we didn't know. And I'm like, well, let's go back to December 2007 or July 2009 when I did know. And I was like, no, you will not give my mom that. And you were all laughing and like, ha ha ha, you're not the doctor. What are you again? Oh, yes, aspiring filmmaker. So why don't you shut the fuck up and let the adults in the situation handle? Give her the pill. She's old and she doesn't know what's going on. I'm like, oh, so you just destroyed my mother's, like, completely destroyed my mother's memory. And now that the newspaper admits that the comments to this article are hysterical, Mary.
Yeah.
Because there's people who are like, oh, Western psychiatry. Now you're telling me that the pills you've been giving me for the past 10 to 15 years that are supposed to calm my anxiety are going to destroy my mind.
Great.
70.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for telling me now. So it's like, no, fuck you, like, dogmatic Western psychiatrist, that you will use any arbitrary definition to then, like, shoehorn an innocent person to, you're bipolar, you're manic depressive, you do not have the indications of enough happiness factors, so take more of our happiness pills, because there's no such thing as spirits or God or spirituality or interiority or consciousness. All of that to be reduced to chemicals in the brain, and why don't we give you more chemicals in the brain? Because chemicals, with more chemicals, will create, well, we don't know, but it's a great science experiment, because there's nothing but scientism and white men and white lab coats telling poor little Vikram in white Pennsylvania in the 1990s what to do, because you're crazy and we know better than you.
Wow, yeah. And you know,
I just like, it's like distilled rage.
yes. Well, and
but it's like, it's all going to turn into the stage show, because my brilliant friend, Mary Ang, who always said I was not crazy and I was brilliant too, back in April 2008 said, Vic, I love you, honey. Let me take this crazy letter your dad wrote you, and let's go do performance art with it. And it's like, now the curtains are parting. National television, YouTube show, a year and a half next, from when this aired in national television. And it's just kind of like, yes, I've vindicated Vic.
you know what?
At what cost? At what cost? Society has not progressed at all since the 1990s.
Hey, and you know what, Vic? Here's one thing I do with the crazy letters and the crazy emails and stuff. Say, for instance, every hateful or homophobic message you've ever had, I would just publish them on some kind of, like, spam type blog.
You are the mind reader now.
Listen. And so then you can...
But it says, this is the final part of my book. I'm going to take every single hateful, homophobic, pneumophobic, spirit, Islamophobic, poorphobic, like every single thing, but I'm going to use real internet comments from real internet pages that cannot be traced back to copyright issues, and publish them in the 3rd chapter as something we call insecurity.
Wow, wonderful, yeah. And it...
Because they're going to say, oh, you're a victim, and oh, we feel so sorry for you, and it's like, well, no, yes, I am, quadruple minority, I'm brown, and I get possessed by a spirit, and I'm HIV positive, and I have a form of cancer, but I'm also accomplishing all of my career goals in a very long, drawn-out, completely unfunded manner.
Yeah. Well, I love
It
public.
takes a tremendous amount of strength, but like I want to. I mean, I can't send you. We're 2/3 of the way done with the film, and I
Uh,
may get to an on, and that's fine. I'm okay being a martyr for something. But the thing is that I can't send you the. It's on Vimeo. I can't send you the password. There's two different producers. Blah blah blah. But I just want to let you know that everything I talk to you about that I say I'm going to do, all of these life challenges are only inspiring me to keep going forward and doing it with you being one of my biggest inspirations. I'm
oh.
still talking about you in the book and how your mother, I want your permission, of course, before it's sent to publication. Your mother, your Capricorn mother, actually got you when you were 18, 19, the way my Capricorn father could not get me when I was 17, 18, because I almost got lobotomized and sent to a mental institution too, but I did commit a crime very angry. I dared commit homosexuality in Western Pennsylvania, which is, really, there's only one religion. It's team sportism, and if you don't play team sports, then what are you? Because we're only about physical activities that, demolish and ultimately disparage our mind. Why would someone want to read a book when you can just eat some your own volleyball, basketball? And so it's like, I mean, it's just one thing after another. There's one layer after another. If someone named Lucas something wants to hate us from the internet, but they're too cowardly to show their name, it's only a credit, my dear, to our power that we're so articulate and still gonna say the shit and do the shit we need to say and do, because we're thinking about all of the people in the world, not your straight, white, male, Protestant, homophobic, pneumophobic, and I don't know, basically internet phobic, conservative people. I mean, the best joke I heard the whole past 2 weeks, this whole Republican pushback, and I'm not defending Obama, of course, but this whole thing, whatever happened in 2014, this is like the last dying gasp of like all these old dying white people that are so scared of change that it's the best thing for old white people since like the Elton John, Billy Joel fourth reunion, Like these people are terrified. That's why they're trying to hold on to power.
Yeah, those of them that didn't die from all the cocaine they snorted during the Iran-Contra era.
Like going on the years of baby boomer indulgence when it's like, why would we care about healthcare? And now it's all about healthcare because they're getting old while our generation will be footing the bill.
No, I typically think of the Congress as like some kind of senior center. I just view it as a completely irrelevant senior center for
But
deranged.
it's like it's one party. Hello, the Green Party, the Money Party. I voted for Joe fucking Stein last time. I'm like, can we please just have a woman? Like a real woman. Not the scorpionic, fiendish woman named Hillary Clinton that, for whatever scorpionic reason, she's born on the same day as Indira Gandhi, who imprisoned my grandfather. So, it's always Lady Macbeth with those
Indira Gandhi imprisoned your grandfather?
because at age 77, he was a threat to her power.
Wow.
She suspended the Constitution and declared a state of emergency, and basically all the people that helped her get into power were also imprisoned, as well as all of her would-be rivals, because that level of Scorpio paranoia is like, well, I can't really trust any of you, so I shall kill you all. And then it's like, well, then one day your bodyguard will kill you, bitch, because you've gone too far. You've become Lady Macbeth, the archetypal Scorpio woman, And then they try to justify it where it's like, well, that's just my nature. I had to sting you, and I had to destroy you. And it's like, well, then it's our nature to then, like, exterminate you because you're vermin. Anyway, I'm talking about unrelated things, but there are people
No,
who
no,
are
no,
in-
no. I just watched a mini documentary on Indira Gandhi, and I just remember as a kid, I thought she was cool because she was a woman, and I felt like America was behind the times because we couldn't get a woman president together, and that seemed to
because
me
in a
absurd.
way it's sexist to support her because then it's like Obama. It's like you have that diminished expectations for a woman or a black person. What are you saying? Because I'm not criticizing you, but that's the universal view of her in the 1970s.
Right.
She was so stage managed, but then everyone in India was like, she's declared a state of emergency, and her son is picking up innocent men off the street, and
Right.
to compete with China, they're forcibly sterilizing them. But she was so genius in that evil Scorpionic way. When she was in her 30s and 40s, her nickname was Guki Guria, which means mute doll. So they thought she was just a mute doll. Because, Scorpio people don't talk, they're just really quiet.
Mm.
So all these older Indian men thought they're going to manipulate her. She's Nehru's daughter, and they're going to use her to get into power. And her nickname was the mute doll. Like, they can't read her. What's she going to do? As soon as she gets into power, though, she stabs everyone in the back and got her into power, and then uses her ex-husband's name, Feroz Gandhi, as her last name, so that the worldwide press would think of her as Mahatma Gandhi's daughter.
Wow.
That manipulative. So, my grandfather, who was already imprisoned multiple times by the British in the 30s and 40s, including in 1942 when my mother was, my grandmother was pregnant, my mother wasn't even born, and my grandfather was in jail. In 1976-77, Indira Gandhi had the temerity and the audacity to, she was 75, and it's the middle of the night, and it's like she's completely suspended the writ of habeas corpus. Well, of course, we know how well that goes in this country. That's all we've been doing for the past 50 years. It's like, let's take all of Western civilization's highest achievements and Bush, Obama, whoever it is, who cares? It's not these figureheads. It's not these people behind the scenes controlling it. It's the American bureaucracy. It's the American empire.
Yeah.
There's a great article on the Bill Moyers website from last year and one on Salon, like the best article on Salon this year. I just sent those two articles to you also because I haven't finished reading them, and you're like my link storage.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
But the thing is that like it's status, like American empire is at this point where it's like Ottoman Empire, Mughal Empire, Roman Empire, where it doesn't matter who the figurehead is, Bush, Obama, all these people